Welcome to this little discussion on some of the most common obstacles that people face in their meditation practice. Elita and I have done this workshop live a couple of times, so we wanted to share with you some of the questions that come up most often when we do this with a big group. And honestly, some of these questions are like the hardest questions to answer really in your own practice when it comes to like sustaining and enjoying a meditation practice. So I hope that this is helpful to you. And if you have other questions or comments or solutions to some of these issues, please post them in the Q&A section or write us. We love to hear from you. So the first question that comes up a lot, like maybe every single time we do this workshop or I've done other workshops on meditation is, I can't find time to meditate. So Elitza, my day is super busy. I have a hard time squeezing it in. What can I do to make meditation part of my regular life?
Great question, Claire. Well, my first response to that would be just consider what would fit your schedule best. We all live such busy lives, and finding time to meditate can be a challenge. One solution to that is to meditate in small increments and give yourself permission to do it for 10, 15 minutes a day. And maybe that's all you can do, or maybe it's 15 in the morning and 15 in the afternoon. So the first step is to consider what duration is a reasonable goal to fit in your schedule. The second step might be to consider when is a good time for you to meditate. For some people, it can be a challenge to find the time to be alone and in a place that's quiet and inviting. And so maybe for you, that's in the morning. Maybe it's the first thing you do after you wake up, or maybe it's after you've had a cup of coffee and you've done a few stretches, then washed your face with cold water so that you're fully awake. Maybe the opening that's available to you is at night before you go to bed. Or maybe it's the time during a lunch break if you work in an office, and that's a great time to step away from the work, to gain a sense of perspective, to give yourself a little bit of energy boost and just opportunity to recenter. And so maybe there is a park or a bench just outside of the building. Maybe you're lucky to work in an office that has rooms that are set aside for meditative practice and contemplation, whatever. Or maybe you just need to go out to your car and sit in the car. I know that's what I've done on occasion, and take, however much time is available to you. In terms of other tips and hints, spending a few minutes in the car as a transitioning time between work and home, or in the morning between traffic and work. Or maybe if you work from home, before you start your work, taking the time to center and practice and meditate will also potentially give you a nice boost in concentration for whatever lies ahead. Claire, do you have anything to add?
Well, first of all, I love all those suggestions. And yeah, I mean, I've been meditating for, I guess, over 20 years now, and it can be hard to find the time that I would like to find. So all of the things that you said are things that I've tried and done in my own practice. And right now I'm kind of on a kick of like trying to take just really short, 1 to 5 minute meditation breaks while I work. So I think everything you just said has been really valuable ways for me personally to fit more meditation into my schedule.
And I know that you also have quite a bit of experience with longer meditation stretches. Mm-hmm. So for those of our viewers who are interested in figuring out how to make that happen, I wonder if you have any tips or suggestions.
Oh yeah. So first of all, I just want to give a big shout out to the whole concept of retreat. This is kind of the ultimate like longer meditation session. And if you've never done retreat, it can be a fabulous way to kind of deepen your practice. So a great way to start would be maybe to do a weekend retreat in a group where you're getting some instruction, someone else is cooking for you maybe. It's really helpful to be just away from home so you can kind of switch off your phone. You don't even take your computer with you, and you just have a couple of days to really be present. And that can really help your mind drop into and deepen, your states of concentration. There are longer retreats too, like a week, 10 days, a couple of weeks. Personally, I love to do about 2 weeks in the summer. And I really see after about 4 or 5 days, my mind settling in. So I'm glad you brought it up, because it's sort of like the flip side of the question, I don't have enough time. Well, what if I do have time? Then what do I do? So this can be a really fabulous way of just deepening your practice, and then that deepening comes with you out of retreat and it comes into your daily practice. And the other aspect of this question of like, what if I do have a longer amount of time? Say you have an hour. For me, I find that like in daily practice, it can take 10 or 15 minutes just to drop into a meditative state, depending on what's going on. So if you have even just once or twice a week, these longer chunks of time that you can give to practice, it can be really helpful to drop into that state and then just stay there. So some things that I would recommend, because they're what I do, for doing these longer meditation sessions is, first of all, to start with a guided meditation or just something that's going to be more structured, so your mind has something to kind of grab onto as you're transitioning into that deeper state of mind. And then afterwards, I like to just sit silently. But even in my silent sitting, often I'll use a timer. Like this morning, I meditated for 15 minutes on an Insight timer, just using a 15-minute timer that was set to chime every 3 minutes. Because that way, if you're in the middle of a long session, it can be easy to just get swept away by thoughts. And if you have something reminding you every few minutes just to come back, or just to freshen up your mind, even if you're not distracted, it can be helpful to just come back and really refresh, take a tiny little break, open your eyes, look around, or if your eyes are already open, maybe you want to stretch. In the Tibetan tradition that I practice, it's actually really helpful to do these shorter sessions of meditation, even within a longer session. So I just want to give a shout out, for the shorter sessions, and you can even incorporate those into longer sessions and just make sure that you're not kind of spacing out for half an hour, which can be nice and relaxing, but you're not necessarily getting all the benefits of meditation. So yeah, great question.
Lovely. Thank you, Claire. This is so helpful.
Oh, good. It is for me too.